What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Marsh Boys podcast. As normal, I'm your host, Brian.
I had cow shit in my hair
And your mouth.
and mouth.
Cow foot and mouth.
Yeah. If my throat hurts tomorrow, I'm coming after you.
Maybe you
And we're
should.
joined by Hunter Carr.
Whoa. Who the
Haha,
fuck do you think you are?
fucking go host.
And we are joined by Hunter Carr of Blue Hen Outdoors.
Don't copy me.
What's up, guys? Glad to be
How-
on. Finally.
yeah, it's been a while in the making, I'll say that.
Yeah.
How's your week been? Well, it's
Good.
only Monday, but
Well, yeah, it's only Monday. But my weekend was good. Had a good Easter. Happy belated Easter to you guys.
Thank you as
Happy
well.
Easter.
Um, let's see. My turkey hunting Saturday for Maryland's opener. That was kind of a shit show in itself. Not a shit
Nope.
show, but so the one Maryland property I have is all the way down in Pocomoke, so that's kind of like a 2.5, 2 hour drive from where I'm at, south. So get down there, set up. Heard the gobbler across the property from where we're at. Mind you, it's a 40-acre property. It's all timber, so we were on this side of the woods. He was roosted over here. So we go out, try to cut through the one field, sneak up on him. We probably get within 100 to like 80 yards of him, and he just fires off on us. We just jump into the weeds, try to set up, and then we think we kind of spooked him doing that because when I was recording, you could hear him gobbling, but he was kind of getting farther and farther away. But
Yeah.
mind you, the guy whose property it is, he kept sending me trail camera pictures of us literally passing the trail cam 3 minutes after the damn turkey would.
yeah, I saw that. I meant to respond to you.
So I was like, are you kidding me? But it was a nice little morning in the woods. Had some action. That's all that matters.
Was it
Yep.
real windy down there like it was up here?
It kind of was to start the morning, and then it died out as it
Hmm.
got later in the morning.
Yeah.
I got you. You got so are you just hunting Saturdays?
I am so right now. So, I mean, this past Sunday was Easter, so I couldn't really hunt this past Sunday. But I usually try if I'm not doing anything Sunday, I'll try to hunt Saturdays and Sundays, especially because I have two private pieces in Maryland and here in Delaware where I'm from.
I got you. So when you go to look, like when you first get to a property,
hmm
before you even roost a bird, stuff like that, what do you look for when you scout?
So when I'm scouting, I'm kind of looking to see if there's any water sources nearby, if there's a field nearby, because that's a big thing. Because depending on how late you want to sit in the morning and where they want to pitch out to, and how late in the season it is, they'll go pitch into the field and start strutting as soon as they hit the field and start working hens.
Yeah.
So I look for that, and I also look for not too thick of a hardwoods, but just thick enough that it's like they can go roost. They have some like areas they can go duck into if they want to. They can scratch around if they need.
You're not shooting through vines.
Right.
Well, that was
Not
your
too,
fault, not mine.
not too thick, but just thick enough. I like a good pine woods. Like that's what my one property in Maryland is. It's a good pine woods, but
So what kind of call do you use?
I usually like to run a slate or a pot call, if you will, friction call. I have a slate one. I have two metal surface, one aluminum, one copper.
Hmm.
The my guy at Uhula Creek Calls made the copper one for me.
Mm-hmm.
How do you like the
So,
copper call?
I like it. It's got some nice ring and low tones to it. I kind of use my slate as my like kind of like high pitcher one for now.
So you're
But
carrying them all out there, or you pick two, or
I
you
usually
just
have
pick one
two.
for the day?
I usually have two in my vest,
Hmm.
and then I'll have like 3 or 4 different strikers that
Yeah.
I kind of just can like get different sounds off of those. And then outside of that, I got my owl hoot, my crow call for locators, and then I just got a gobbler call this year that I haven't used it yet, but I've just been fooling around with it, trying to see how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
You- You know another good thing about multiple strikers?
What is that, Ryan?
If you leave one on the hood of the Ranger, it doesn't matter. You have a
Right.
backup.
Oh, dude, trust me, I'm always leaving something in the turkey woods.
Oh no, he left this on the hood of the truck
It was
last
right
year.
when he gave it to me. Too.
Yeah. He had lost his
Honestly,
other striker, so I gave him one.
that's okay. One morning when I was duck hunting, I walked 2 miles out to the flooded timber, and I forgot my calls at the truck.
Yeah, that's always a rough morning. I've been luckily enough. I've never left my calls at the truck, but there's been plenty of times where I've left. Maybe I don't remember a time where I left something that important, but I remember Tyler left shells at the truck. He had to walk 2 miles back to the truck to get them when we were goose hunting one time.
Now you can mimic a lot of the sounds with your mouth, as we do on the drive home almost every day.
See, now I didn't go back and get my calls. I just threw my decoys
Yeah,
out
no,
and just said "fuck it." And if anything came, it came. And I shot 3 ducks that day. So
Oh yeah, duck hunting. I to be completely honest with you, I couldn't tell you the last time I went duck hunting and used a call. I have them. I couldn't tell you the last time I actually used one.
We have
Yeah.
been cutting back on that
Yeah.
a lot.
Yep.
Because I felt like definitely, at least the first year or the second year, we overcalled.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
laid on it and hoped for the best.
Yeah, I definitely got into the habit of overcalling at ducks, and undercalling at geese. You know, in certain situations, and I think with ducks, I went too far extreme the other way.
yeah, well, I mean, it's the same thing with turkeys. Ducks and turkeys don't want to call at them too much, and then geese, people don't call at them enough.
Yep, yep. Or they just don't read the birds in certain situations and call at them too much. You know, you could
Yeah.
definitely overcall the geese. We've learned that plenty of times. But so look. So before the podcast started, you said you had a bone to pick.
Oh yeah, I do have a bone to pick with you guys, saying I can't shoot straight after you stole my band when we went brand hunting with Riley.
I didn't steal your band.
No, all jokes aside, that is your band. My choke was fucked up in my gun, and yes, I did have issues those couple days and couldn't hit nothing, but we have it fixed, and we ended the season off. You may think I'm stupid, but we ended the season off with an open bore shotgun and swatted a few brant and a swan with it. So
Hey, if it works, it works.
That swan was good, too.
oh
Yeah, that swan did taste pretty good.
hmm I'm waiting to get him back from the taxidermist now. He sent me a few videos of like how it's coming along. It's looking really good. I can't wait to get it back.
That's good. That's good. How you getting it done?
I'm just getting a head mount, and he's kind of having like the head like an S, like it's kind of like curled up, and he's gonna have like the wings just kind of like spread like around it.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm
Where
just
you gonna put that in the house? That's got to be a lot of wall space.
Right over the kitchen table.
Well, I told the wife we should put it in the baby's room where I'm at now, but she's like, no, 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 we're not having that thing in our apartment yet.
It's a stork.
She's like, when we get a house, you can put all your stuff in your man cave, but I'll probably just keep it at my parents' house with all my other mounts for now.
Oh my god. Yeah, just tell her it's a stork, just like Ryan said.
It's a stork.
It's good
Oh
luck
no,
for the
she knows
baby.
it's a swan. I got all holy hell for that. She was.
Cannot wait to hang a bird over the kitchen table.
You think you're gonna get a goose mounted
Oh,
in your
I'm
house?
putting one right over the kitchen table,
You're gonna
fully
get-
cupped up, ready to land on my plate, dude.
You're gonna be the next thing getting mounted. Not in a good way either.
Damn it.
There's
My
gonna
dad
be no
has a-
saddling.
My dad has a goose that he's his first goose that he got. It's cupped up, and we had it in the living room, like over the one like kind of like faux wall. Like you sit down and like look up, it's like kind of landing on you.
Yeah.
I told my wife, I was like, why would you put that in his room? It'd be like a mobile.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're gonna do it right, you need to go like right when they're at their fattest resident goose that you can possibly shoot.
Put
You gotta
an
really
18-pound
pick it out.
goose above your head.
Full body mount, cupped up. It's a good centerpiece. We're making all the wives squirm.
We are.
Yeah, let's be honest. There's no wives listening to this podcast.
Well,
Jules?
mine might give it a listen.
Well, we appreciate that. But so no, I was saying, didn't you say you have another bone to pick with the game and fish?
Yeah. Yeah.
The gay Mormons?
The game.
The gay Mormon. Sorry, the Bava's hitting me. But no. So I shot my swan in Delaware, and after shooting it, I kind of did some research and just kind of was like, because I never really harvested one, B known anybody that's got one, or C never really like. It's always been like, yeah, if you see swan, I've just heard it's always been, hey, you see a swan, they're usually banded, so that's why I kind of went. I was like, all right, if I could, I'll see if it's got a band. But later on through research, the one that I got, mute swan, they're invasive,
Mm-hmm.
and New Jersey recognizes them as an invasive species, but doesn't let you hunt them. And I'm just like, why? And I actually called Game and Fish, not to throw nobody under the bus, but they kind of said, no, you can't get them because there's technically not a season for them, but they're not gonna like give you holy hell if you get one either because they're invasive. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Hmm.
Like that's the kind of answer
No.
I got.
Yeah, I've never,
So,
because
so
I
play that
remember.
if you will, but like I'm not gonna shoot them unless New Jersey you hear this and decide to make it a thing. But
If they actually become a problem, they're gonna have to create a season for them.
So it's what I would imagine. So fishing's completely different. I haven't looked at the regulations this year because we haven't really been out fishing much.
Sheep's
But
head. I know that's what you're thinking of too, because that's what I was thinking
sheep's
of.
head never had a season. There was never size limits. It was just no holds
But
bar on them.
everybody's hammering them now.
Yeah, there was never anything in the game and fish books other than we had them.
uh-huh.
So I mean, I don't know if it's something to do with that. Like it's
But it's a gray area because it's a firearm, and you can't.
yeah. That's what I'm
Like
saying.
with
It
fishing, you'd be like,
differs,
"Oh, I
but
didn't know I was pulling that up," but there's
yeah.
no
No, it's
rules
like
on
not
it. But
even that. I mean, like I looked it up for like even even more kind of like gray with it. I was like, well, does New Jersey want invasive species gone? It's like, yeah. And then I looked up the invasive species list, and it's like they got nutria, they got certain kinds of fish, they got other certain stuff, but they don't got the swan. I'm like, what?
So
It's just
we
kind of
should.
like it just kind of perplexes me, is what I'm trying to say.
if I had to take a wild guess, and this is if I had to take an educated guess, and this is what it is a guess, it would be that we don't have a substantial enough population to support any kind of like to be like, okay, we're having a problem with mute swans. Let's open season on them and tell people to shoot them. I have a feeling compared to say snakeheads, zebra snails, stuff like that, it's probably on the back burner. It's like, okay, it's not really a problem, you know, so we don't really need to worry about it. And I mean, to be honest, I've never heard tale of somebody being like, oh yeah, I've had a problem with a mute swan. You know
Something.
what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but still, like to an extent, if there's an overpopulated amount in certain areas,
Well, that's kind of what I'm
they
getting
should
at is there's
they
not
should
an
open
over.
up certain county permits.
Yeah, it's like what I was getting
Or
at
like,
was I don't think there's a big enough problem with them.
yeah,
It's just like if I
They're
once again
invasive, but they're not.
if I it's probably something that we noticed that's here that shouldn't be here, but it's not really causing any harm. Because like I've never personally seen a mute swan in Jersey. I've heard
yeah.
a couple guys that say they've seen them. You see more of them in PA and Delaware and Maryland and stuff like that.
To play devil's advocate, that's nothing a 210 conibear can't figure out.
Right?
It's a joke. Relax.
I know it's a joke, but why did that come to mind?
Because I thought it was funny.
There's no such thing as a 210 Conibear either, you idiot.
Damn it.
It's a 220.
220. I was 10 off.
They go up by 11.
Hmm.
110,
220,
Nah, there
330.
might be a 120.
220.
120,
I know, but
I think it's just the size, isn't it?
mm,
How do they measure that? I don't know. We'll get into that later
yeah, when we're more educated on it.
when I have Wi-Fi at my house.
The 26th, right?
Yeah, 26th.
Saturday, baby. That's what you had to do Saturday. The cable guys.
That is what I have to do Saturday. I knew it wasn't that important.
So, Hunter, let's backtrack about 20 years.
yeah.
How did you get started in hunting, fishing, in the outdoors? Was it something your family did? Was it something you picked up with a buddy? How'd you get into it?
So when I was younger, growing up, my dad, he's originally from Great Lakes area, Erie, Pennsylvania, and he grew up in the mountains hunting deer and fishing on the lake with his uncles and my great grandfather for walleye and trout and perch and stuff like that. And then through him being in the Navy, he moved down here. Was kind of just working and and then met a couple friends when him and my mom moved into our neighborhood, and then he ended up getting on a property in Clayton, Delaware, which he had from when I was born to my junior year in high school. So a good chunk of my life. And that was mainly just a deer property. They did field hunt it for geese whenever they would have corn planted that year because they did farm it. They'd have soybean and corn planted every other year. But yeah, I mean, there would be some ducks in the flooded timber that we'd have if it would rain. So I just kind of grew up like hunting field mallards, uh, field geese, and deer with my dad there. I was fortunate to ah
It's going off.
AI's taking over. You blame.
I was taking over, yeah. But no, so as I was saying before that happened, he brought me out doing that, and then as I got older, got into doing friends and meeting people from doing it and whatnot, and just growing it from there.
So is there something you started with? Like, so with me, I grew up squirrel hunting. That was what I did. I didn't really deer hunt. I didn't start duck hunting until high school. Is there something you did that was like
Deer.
hook deer?
That was my thing. That was kind of like my, and especially because my dad coming from up north and being in the mountains area, that's a
Big deer
big thing up
country.
there.
Yeah. Deer
And
and bear, right?
yep. So and then he was kind of just a big deer guy. I mean he would waterfowl hunt because there was a couple guys that were big waterfowl hunters. One being a guy who actually is a one part of the old school group of decoy makers from the Susquehanna Flats.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of got the privilege to hunt with one of those guys and hear him tell stories of the glory days of the flats and whatnot and the blind. So that was kind of fun. But other than that, yeah, it was just mainly deer hunting growing up. And then as I got into my high school years, a good buddy of mine that I met in high school and middle school, he was a really, really big duck hunter. That's kind of what put my catalyst into duck hunting more. And as I started doing it, I had a love hate relationship with it
As most of us do. Oh, you
Yeah.
mother.
Sorry about that.
because when I first started, I got wet a lot and I didn't really know what I was doing. He made me carry the decoys, and I was like, "What the fuck? All the decoys are heavy." But
400
eventually,
pound kayak a mile through the
I made
field.
Ryan do the same shit. He was definitely the pack mule when he started.
but
I'd been doing it
eventually,
long enough.
You should have been feeding me my inhaler the entire time.
Go
but
ahead, Hunter.
eventually, I kind of started to grow a love for it as I do have a love for it now. But then, so not to get too off track, but I went
You-
off to college, played football down in North Carolina. That's what kind of stopped me hunting for a little bit because I was down there doing school and playing ball. And then came back home when COVID hit, and then just been back here ever since. And then there's nothing to do when COVID hit, so I just started hunting and fishing again.
That's like a common story with a lot of people we talk to.
Yeah.
But,
So, like,
COVID brought a lot of people
revitalized
in,
hunters and fishers was because
but
of
yeah, without
COVID.
a doubt.
for better or for worse.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's good. Sometimes you get the dude down at the shore that's running and gunning ducks until he gets caught. So
Yeah, the rich alpaca kids that had nothing to do but spend daddy's money on a beaver tail.
I got a
Yeah.
110 on my John boat and a loaded gun.
Had
But
to
see,
dip
me
my
though,
testicles
it's a
in a
flip side
mallard's mouth. Go
because
ahead.
when I came back, I had to go start hunting public because the farmer and the guy who owned the property we hunted sold it.
Mm, that sucks.
Yeah.
So now you were pretty much hunted fished your whole life down in Delaware, correct?
Down in Delaware, I did some up in the Great Lakes when we would go visit family up there. My uncle would take me out perch fishing. I've been a striper and surf fishing down here. I've gone and done it in Myrtle Beach where my folks have a beach house at. Hunted and fished down there. Gone fishing out in Jamaica when we went and did a family vacation out there for snapper. That was fun. So yeah, like pretty much anything. If there's opportunity to go get something, I'm doing it.
As
Yeah.
another person that's had perch from the Great Lakes and from here, which perch is the better, in your opinion, to eat?
Great Lakes.
I have to agree with
Yeah,
that.
no shit, Ryan.
They're so good. That's one of the stops when we go up in Michigan
That's like eating an oyster from a farm or an
On the
oyster from
31st.
from the bay.
31st. There's one spot I'm stopping. They're fried perches.
Yeah, you gonna bring your knee pads?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some
I'm gonna
fresh
suck
fried
off.
leg perch and
Yeah, I'm gonna suck
some
off the
fresh
chef for a free meal.
fried leg walleye. Can't beat it, man.
So walleye, the
Walleye.
walleye I had
Watch
was
for
not
deers,
that
eh?
good because there was a lot of bones in it, and I
Yeah.
just kept swallowing bones the whole time.
They didn't cook it
Really?
long enough.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I got it from a Holiday Inn in Michigan,
Oh
but
my God. That wasn't
Jeez.
walleye.
no, that's what
Yeah,
they
that's
said
not
on the menu.
walleye.
It was a Great Lakes bonefish.
You were eating farm raised tilapia.
Yeah.
Probably. They said it was walleye.
So I brought up the hunting and fishing in Delaware, for the majority of your life primarily, because we've talked to Riley a lot about Delaware's fish and game laws and how they treat private versus public. Was there any like major obstacles that you had to overcome, or did you primarily just stick to public once you guys lost that farm?
I mean, I just kind of primarily stuck to public once we lost the property. I mean, there's a couple guys that would invite me out, and like now I have a couple good friends that like I don't claim it to be my private, but my buddy takes me out to his private a lot in Delaware.
That's cool.
And then, like I said, I have those two private places in Maryland, the ones the deer lease that we pay for, and then the guy who runs the deer lease, he bought the turkey place out in Pocomoke. And he just deer hunts, so he's like, yeah, I have all these turkeys. If you want to turkey hunt it, it'll just be you. So just go down there if you want. I was like, hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. All turkeys to myself, basically.
So now we'll skip for. Do you have anything to finish that up?
I wanted to ask
There you go.
how have you seen? He sold the property. Did he sell it to a developer? And how have you seen Delaware get developed like with all the hunting lands that were previously
So
there?
that's a good point to bring up. I haven't seen where because I drive by there every now and then when I'm down that way. It's changed hands a few times. It's in the process of changing hands now, I think. And like anybody that's owned it, they've just kind of like the guy that owned it before. He had like had hunters come in, but he kind of like kicked us off to have his own club come in. Basically, it's just kind of like been that kind of deal there. But
That,
as far as like different lands and development, oh, there's been all kinds of different development in Delaware from when I first started hunting to now. Like it's a total 180. There's way more development, way more shortage of land publicly and privately for places. Not saying that is bad, but as much as you build, you should also set aside for conservation or for whatnot purposes.
I think the best example of that, to me at least, driving down we would go through Baltimore and we would go through like heading south for whatever family trips we would do. Middletown and that new highway. I
Oh,
remember when that was a
Middletown?
shitty little road and there was all
Yep,
farms, and now like
yep.
every
it's
time I
a
go down there, there's
4-lane
like
highway going
yeah,
through. Yeah.
every time I go down
Yep.
there now, there's like 8 new developments. One of the chemical plants that we're helping build right now is down in Middletown.
Oh,
It's
really?
it's
Man, look.
Yeah.
insane.
Ryan's
See,
part of the problem.
Middletown's where I'm originally from.
Yeah. I am part of
So,
the problem. We're fabbing the pipe.
Stupid steam fitters.
Yeah.
so I'm not saying that, but I will say this, because I remember when Middletown was nothing. It was literally just the little town of Middletown,
Hmm.
and
Slower, baby.
We had Taco Bell
Oh,
and
just
Food
messing with you.
Lion, and my mom could see my dad coming home on Route 13 from our house because there was really just nothing.
I remember that. My dad said his favorite part about down there was that one big ass liquor store
which
that's
was
Yeah.
always been there.
so it's really funny. So I don't know if you remember us talking about this on that Brant hunt, but we have a mutual connection.
Yep.
Your scout leader married, well, he didn't. His daughter married my uncle.
Yep.
You did.
Hold on.
Tara's dad was his scout leader.
No shit.
Terry.
Yeah.
Yep. I
Small
just saw
world.
him yesterday at Easter dinner.
Oh, did he? How's he doing?
Oh, he's doing good. He's doing real good.
That's good.
Yep. But that was like I made the joke about Delaware lower slower because you have to every once in a while. But yeah, like I know a lot of people that were born and raised down there, and Terry's grandson Jake, he killed his first goose with me, and he comes up hunting every year now, and so yeah, I mean, I
I
didn't
will
have
say
anything
this from
to finish that out, but I said, yeah, I mean, just to sound important, I guess.
I guess so.
Go
Good
ahead,
job.
Hunter.
I will say this for me dating my wife, and like through the process of me and her dating, and me going up to Jersey a lot because she's from New Jersey. When I first started hunting up in New Jersey, not to say that Delaware's not liberal like New Jersey is, but she was from more northern central New Jersey. Nobody really hunts or does anything like that out there or up there, I should say. They kind of look at you walking around. They're like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Hunting." They're like, "Oh, good luck." Like I'll
That
never
was
forget it. The one time I came out because there was this public land behind an Acura dealership. And I came walking out of the Acura dealership one morning. They were all coming in to work. They were looking at me crazy because I had my duck decoys on me, had all my camo on, face painted. They're like, I'm like, I'm stuck on. Like, oh, because they've had guys beaver trap back there and stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, whatever.
I will say it's a very common misconception with Jersey, not the liberal part at all. Trust me, been here long enough to realize. But we have a really, really big chunk of state-owned land, of
Yeah.
wildlife management areas. Like there is, I have gone my entire. I think there was, I hunt a very, very like a 3 acre piece of property for deer hunting. I don't think I've ever duck hunted. Goose hunted, I have some private pieces. I don't think I've ever duck hunted on a private piece of property.
no, I don't think we have.
Like really thinking about it, I think every time I've duck hunted, and we've duck hunted North Zone, South Zone, whatever you want to call it, coastal zone, you know, we've never hunted a piece of private ground
Mm-hmm.
for ducks. For ducks, let me make that very clear. For ducks,
Mhm.
turkeys, geese, deer. Yeah, we've hunted private ground, but
Before you get too far off of it, I thought, and this is something I thought was kind of neat about our wild game dinner that we went to. The two New Yorkers that were sitting across from us that had no idea
yeah,
about hunting at all. They were
like
like
definitely liberals,
they
100%.
100%. But they definitely had their eyes open. So they are the one
And
dude
they
asked,
thanked us for that too,
yeah,
which was really cool.
the one dude asked, he's like, so you don't kill them for sport, you kill them to eat and control the population. And we were like, yeah, and we kind of explained it all to
Like
him.
they were very, very surprised to hear. Then it's very, very true. We eat wild game in my household.
I think I've eaten it 4 days a week since I moved
Yeah,
into the
like
house.
3 days a week.
Since I've been
And
able to know what it was, that's all I've really mostly eaten in my household. Me, my sister, and my
mhm.
mom and my dad. But granted, now my wife and I'm kind of glad that you guys touched on that. My wife and her friends, not to call them city folk or city slickers, to give that kind of like negative connote to them,
Connotation. Yeah, yeah.
but they're from more metro suburban New Jersey,
Mhm.
i.e., Trenton
Yeah,
area,
you've told me
and like
what area they're from, and
Philadelphia.
it's definitely not the same area as like I'm in down
But
here.
here's where I
Right.
can connect them to that. I can connect them to that by they want I'm not I don't know your specific example, but a
Uh,
lot of people like that want like fresh, healthy, unprocessed things, and I think wild game meat
A healthy lifestyle.
a
right.
wild game meat is one of the healthiest meats ever.
And once it was just like Aaron. Once you get past that, you're eating a goose. What has been proclaimed to you over the last 20 years, this dirty, greasy animal, and you get it cooked right and it tastes great, you'll never go back.
Yours was the thing that got eaten first and
Yeah.
totally gone at the wild game dinner.
I mean, nothing's bad. Like, let's get that off the table right away. Nothing
Nothing's
from the
bad.
outdoors is bad.
Cool.
It's just bad
Well-
cooks or how you prepare it is
okay.
bad.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
When
I'll eat the hell of a snow goose, but
You should
it's rough.
You should see the looks I get when I said I've eaten muskrat before. They're like, "You ate what?" I'm like, "They're good. It's like beef."
Right, and that's the thing. It's like I've eaten muskrat, I've eaten deer, I've eaten ducks and geese, and
I ate a groundhog.
turkey, and there's a couple other
Groundhog's
things I have
terrible.
on the list that I want to eat. But
Not the groundhog I had.
but for the most part, if it's kind of out there and wild, I'll try it.
Raccoon. Would
I
you
have
try
some.
it?
I want to try it, but I haven't. Yet.
Oh,
I have some in the freezer.
see, you want to until it actually comes time to do it.
See, everybody said that, and I had possum one time, and given the opportunity, I'd eat a possum again.
But anyway, back to get on track. So when I first started dating her, and I was like, yeah, I'm really about like the hunting and fishing and like showing everybody pictures and like taking a couple of the dudes out hunting or fishing. Like lifestyle, some of her female friends kind of gave me a little bit of pushback in her at first, and I was just like, look, and I know, and I've been taught and told, you're never ever going to change somebody's mind about how they feel about hunting and fishing, regardless of whether you cook them a 5-star dinner or a wild game, and they love it. You're never going to ever sometimes change somebody's point of view of something. You can just only educate and try to promote and advocate for your end of things, and which I do. In some cases, I educate. I say, look, I don't just go out there and kill just to kill something and leave it. Like you guys said, wild management, control. We feed my family, and it's renewable resource. It's the best renewable resource that's organic. And if anybody wants to say it's not, you're a liar, because the animals from the wild eat what they're supposed to eat. They're not in some farm or some.
Yeah, they live a happy life, and the
Right.
population is controlled.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe not the Midwestern mallard, but
Most animals. Come on now.
Right.
the Midwestern timber mallard gets shot at a lot more often.
Yeah.
And it's like her one friend's a vegetarian, and it's like at first me and her used to get into it a lot, but now she kind of like sees my perspective on things and doesn't really like give me shit for it, but she like wants to ask questions, wants to learn, wants to be like, hey, what, like, and I like, for example, this past year I was talking to her about ducks and turkeys and this and that, and she was like, well, you eat it and everything. Well, what else is like so fascinating about it? I'm like, the calling. You watch, and I don't want to be that kind of like faith guy, but this is my like biggest kind of stick to people. You're going to God's grocery store and you're watching God's artwork and how it should be.
Yep, absolutely. I agree 100%.
I mean, you can't have any more of an argument than that for somebody.
So yesterday during Easter, we had sunrise service. My uncle's on the board of the church, and we had sunrise service down at the lake. I almost couldn't pay attention to the sermon because of the ducks and the geese flying around in the background.
I mean, yeah, it's just you literally just, like if you think about it, we get up at the before the ass crack of dawn. We're always seeing the sunrise, and to add to that, you just add God's amazing creatures that we use to nourish our bodies.
Yep. Somebody asked me one time, I won't say who, but somebody asked me one time, why do you love getting up at 2:00 in the morning to go maybe kill a duck, maybe kill a goose, maybe kill a deer? And I explained it to him. Actually, I sent him a Snapchat video and kind of showed him. Because there's a brief moment in the morning when the sun's coming up, maybe sun might be treetop high, and that water with the decoys on it, or them pine trees with the wind blowing through it, everything just settles down. It might be 2 seconds, it might be 10 minutes, Everything settles down for a minute.
Oh, I can
And
Shift change.
go through
and
my phone now and see all those kind of pictures and
yeah,
stuff like that.
and you go through that revelation of where you're at, why you're there, who put you there, and why you're able to do what you're doing. Yeah.
Right.
So,
It puts it all in perspective and makes you appreciate it more.
Mhm.
exactly.
And what did I said? I think it was 2 years ago. The best sunrises I've ever seen in my life were
Have
out
been
when we were hunting.
behind duck decoys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's more true than any. If you're a true outdoorsman, let's even go to a tighter circle. You're a true waterfowler. There is nothing more beautiful. I don't care. You could shoot a 10-man limit of mallards. You can shoot a 10-man limit of pintails. There is nothing more beautiful than what, like I said, when that sun gets treetop high or just higher than the water tower out on the edge of the bay, and everything goes calm for even a millisecond.
Now, granted, it's a little different when you're waterfowling and it's raining and windy as fuck.
That's
not beautiful.
No,
Nothing about that is beautiful.
Well, nothing about the rain and wind is beautiful, but I will say this: me and ironically, one of my buddies ended up going and hunting with Riley to end the season off.
Mhm.
And the end of the season, it was, you guys know, it was bitter cold. Everything was frozen over, and it's like Eskimo out there. Well, Riley, I'm sorry that I say this, but me and my friend kind of joked that it was Riley's Disney on Ice production because we were literally just standing on the bay hunting Brant. No shade, Riley, but I know you're probably gonna listen to this, but it really was like, not to say that it was a miserable experience, but it's just kind of one of those like you'll never forget the sunrise, how everything was that morning. Like it was just like
That's a better way to put it. All the mornings you'll never forget. Some of my best times have been out there, and some of my worst times have
Some of
been
the
out
best
there.
times we've had in the woods would have been some of the worst days we would have had at work.
I do agree with that.
Debatable.
Excuse me?
And some of the worst days in the woods
Sometimes
are
the
the best
conditions
days
are
at work.
worse. Some days the conditions are worse than
Can't
worse.
catch them from the house.
That's fair. But some days we go out there and I'm like, oh my God, we're idiots.
Not to beat a dead horse with the mute swan, but when I got that swan, I actually had to strip down into my underwear and go swimming for it with icebergs around when it was 20 degrees out.
Oh, I got a video of me going and getting a single Canada goose out between an algae patch, stripped down in my underwear and swam out and got that son of a gun. I should have let it float over the damn dam.
Wanton waste.
Wanton waste.
Wonton waste.
Yeah, wonton.
I'll tell you what, I was sitting in the car fighting hypothermia, but it was worth it.
That's a good shirt idea. Wonton waste.
Oh my God. So you have Blue Hen Outdoors. How did that start?
So basically, well, let's backtrack a little bit. It started as blue hen bow hunting,
Mm-hmm.
as you guys know, and some people know, but for those that don't know, we started as blue hen bow hunting only because when I kind of took the idea to start doing the social media stuff, it was bow season, and I was like, well, blue hen bow hunting, it kind of like has a nice little ring to it, and I was like, why not? So, but to backtrack a little more, I got the idea because, like some people in the outdoors, or maybe you guys, maybe not, but I watched some hunting videos, some fishing videos, like while I'm just sitting at home or sitting doing nothing, just to like, hey, pick up tips, pick up tricks, pick up different tactics that you don't think about, and just for some entertainment.
Absolutely.
And it got to a point where my now wife and my one buddy who lets me hunt his private in Delaware, they were both like, "Yo, you really just like do this shit. You have a personality in yourself, and you're passionate about this stuff. Why don't you do it?" And I was like, why not?" And then that's kind of what snowballed, and I was like, well, okay. let's do a YouTube, let's do Instagram, let's do TikTok. And I kind of just started filling everything from my phone. And then that kind of grew, snowballed into people are reaching out wanting to go do hunts or wanting me to go out here, there, want me to go promote this or that. Or say, hey, about a brand. So then I was like,
So,
oh, this could maybe be something. So then now we rolled it into Blue Hen Outdoors because I realized I do a lot more than just bow hunt. Not that, but I'm not an avid bow hunter. When it's September to before garner waterfowl season, that's all I'm mainly doing is in a tree with a bow trying to get a nice, decent deer.
just to generalize everything.
But just to generalize everything, right? Like I do a lot of fishing. I do my biggest passion is turkey hunting. I have a good heart for the waterfowl. I do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, that's and which is awesome. I've noticed that with your page. What's the coolest? What would you say would be the coolest thing Blue Hen Outdoors, Blue Hen Bow Hunter has, uh, shined its light on, giving you an opportunity?
So the coolest thing, and I really hope that this follows through or like gets the works done, or hopefully somehow I can get my wife to kill two birds with one stone. So we haven't taken our honeymoon yet, and this will be our honeymoon trip maybe. But I have the opportunity to go to Africa and go
Oh,
bow hunt
Hmm.
plains game, and I'm really excited, and I really really want to go do that. Like that is since doing this, and since I've been talking to the PH in the South Africa. I think that's where, yeah, South Africa is where he's at, and like all the different like things and like what he has to offer, like the kind of experience you'll get. I'm just like, sign me up. Like I want to go. And like how many, and like not to say that like once I go and do it, I won't go back. But like it'll just be it'll be an amazing, cool trip to do.
yeah. I
And
mean, I have a feeling you were going to say, how many opportunities do you have to go to Africa? Like
right,
as an average person, you know, what really is the scope of it, like I'm want to go to Africa to, hey, I have an opportunity to go to Africa, experience something that not that many people get to experience, and save these memories for the rest of my life.
right, and not only just going out into the wild and going doing the hunting aspect and the quote unquote, if me and my wife go safari aspect of things. What he told me, granted, now it's kind of a downside. You only get to bring back the trophies, i.e., like the Euro mounts that they do for you, or the pelts if you want to get like a rug or
Yeah.
something done.
Yep. Unless you get them
But
mounted over there.
right, but I do like that they A will feed you what you get in camp, and B that you take what you get and don't eat. You take it to the local villages and people that need it. And I'm
Yep.
like, wow, that's like mission work in itself without being on like mission work.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that.
One thing I will say is wear your anti-lion underwear.
Make sure to draw your sea bear circle.
No, anti-lion circle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wards them off. I promise.
Does it?
So, we're kind of coming down to a close. Is there where do you see yourself going with Blue Hen Outdoors?
With Blue Hen Outdoors,
What do you want to see it
um,
become?
I don't want to jinx it or toot my own horn or take a shot at nobody, but I want to see Blue Hen. Not that I want to see it, but from what I've seen and experienced doing this, it has the potential to. But I could want to see or like have Blue Hen Outdoors become something like Meat Eater almost.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I would assume that would be the goal for all of us. You know, that it's something big enough, and they do a lot of good things for the world.
Oh
For
yeah.
the outdoor world.
Well, not only that, like, and like, I kind of want to take Blue Hen Outdoors and kind of like use it to like say, hey, this is what good hunting does for the
Mhm.
world. This is what if you have like the whole Africa thing. Not just saying over there, but like over here, like the Hunters for the Hungry and stuff like that. Like help promote that kind of deal, like, and also kind of like meet different people, help boost different people's perspective on things, get different ideas, get different experiences.
Yeah.
That's all I'm really trying to get out of this.
I think that's the best way to look at it. So, if you start educating people, I think more people will listen, more people will follow along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ryan, you got anything to close?
No, that was a good enough ending if I've ever seen one.
Hunter, you got anything to close the episode on?
Nah, nothing too crazy. Just I just want to thank you guys for having me on, and I appreciate the opportunity and like letting you guys become friends of mine from doing Blue Hen Outdoors and all this experience to end on the note of what I would want to see Blue Hen Outdoors become. For those that want to get at me or look at me up or hit me up for anything, Blue Hen Outdoors on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. And we just launched today our first podcast episode of the Blue Hen Outdoors podcast with my guy at Euclid Creek Bottoms down in Georgia. Give that a listen on all major platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Prime, YouTube. It's up there. It's only 40 minutes, not nothing too crazy long, but hopefully we can get more interesting guests. I have a lot of cool people lined up. Hopefully we can get you guys on there.
Yeah, absolutely. His Instagram will be linked in the bio of the podcast on Spotify and wherever you're listening. If you're watching, go check out his stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, go check out his Instagram, Blue Hen Outdoors. But yeah, Hunter, we really appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you guys. God bless. Thank you guys.
All right, man.
Yep, thank you.